The time allotted for the debate has concluded. Just before we proceed, I have a statement to make and a motion I'm going to table that the Leader of the House is aware of and the Manager of Opposition Business, and it relates to the Electronic Access Control System, EACS. For those of you focused on other things, that's the electronic swipe at your door and elsewhere around the building, and as members would be well aware, well, certainly members who were here in the last parliament would be well aware, it was progressively installed through 2000 and the last part of 2018, and with a few teething problems, but it's obviously operating very smoothly for the new members. You don't know officers with a key. It was one of the many recommendations of the review that was done here in 2014, the security review following the raising of the threat level after the attack in the Canadian Parliament in October of that year. So it is a part of large security works that obviously enable lockdown capabilities in the event of an emergency incident, and also an enhanced system of verification, identity verification, to assist in mitigating the risk of unauthorised access to and within the private areas of Parliament House. Obviously, it can also be used to investigate or respond to a security or emergency incident. All right, I've got one. That's okay. A security incident or breaches of the private area access policy. I'm tabling a motion that is already with the clerks, and I'll read that motion in a second. The reason for it simply is with the agreement of the Manager of Opposition Business and the Leader of the House back then at the time, and with information to members, we rolled this out so that we could ensure that the House had this capacity as soon as it possibly could. Obviously, in the future, and it's been quite a period of time, there should be a code of practice that deals with all of these issues, and that's something we've been working with the Senate on. But the purpose of this motion simply is to state here in the House the important issues and protections around parliamentary privilege. And what I propose to do is just read the motion and ask the Manager of Opposition Business to make a contribution, because we've obviously worked closely on this on behalf of the House, and then put that resolution. So the motion that is there at the table is, I move that the House note the importance of ensuring that Australian Parliament House is a safe place to visit and work. Long-standing security arrangements in Parliament House have evolved in recent years, and that further changes are proposed, in particular the operation of the closed-circuit television systems and the new electronic access control system that I've mentioned. That these systems, like other security and information systems, are managed by the Department of Parliamentary Services under the authority of the presiding officers on behalf of the Parliament, and that, under the Parliamentary Precincts Act 1988, the powers of the presiding officers to manage and control the precincts apply subject to relevant orders of the Houses, which means that the administration of these security and information systems is constrained by the powers, privileges and immunities of the Houses and their members. Affirm that the collection, management and dissemination of information about members and their staff is to be managed such that parliamentary privilege is protected absolutely. In the absence of the House agreeing to alternative arrangements consistent with paragraph 2 that I've just read, the release of CCTV and EACS material which may involve matters of privilege can only occur where the Speaker, having consulted with the Clerk, then consults with the Leader of the House and the Manager of Opposition Business. Also note that an EACS and CCTV code of practice will be reviewed regularly, and it is also timely that the Memorandum of Understanding between the Australian Federal Police and the Parliament be updated, and notwithstanding anything in this resolution, the powers, privileges and immunities of the House are maintained. And I'll call the Manager of Opposition Business before putting the motion. The Manager.
Thanks, Speaker. Most people think of your role in terms of the management of the chamber when debate takes place. This goes quite directly to your role in fact, as one of the shared custodians of the building, and with the responsibility of keeping people who are here safe. We would all wish that security arrangements could be as they were when some of us first arrived. But particularly given the events in some international parliaments, we needed to significantly improve the quality of security, and that gave rise to new forms of security that then, by definition of what they are, accumulate data. And we need to make sure that the rules of privilege can then be extended in different ways to that data. So I want to thank the Speaker for the engagement. It's been constructive, I know from conversations with the Leader of the House, constructive with the government, certainly constructive with the opposition. And I want to thank you for the engagement on this issue about how the new system, the electronic access control system, interacts with privilege. It's an area of safety within the building where it really is vitally important to have bipartisan agreement, and we have that right now. There's nothing more important in terms of making sure that this place can function, that parliamentary privilege remains protected as well. The place doesn't work without it. Doesn't work without a few other things, but that's not for this speech. The implementation of the system is a very important upgrade to the security capabilities in the building, and as you've said, Mr Speaker, this motion reiterates the principles underpinning how the security system works while making sure that it does not interfere with the important principle of privilege. The Code of Practice, which is pending, will give further clarification on how the system will operate and how it should be governed. And the resolution, of course, also refers to the need for the updating of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Parliament and the Australian Federal Police. And I welcome that the resolution's been put to the House in this way, and thank you for your work.
I thank the Manager of Opposition Business, and I'll just conclude very briefly by saying, as I said, the draft Code of Practice has been in contemplation between the Houses for some time. These resolutions that are here, and there's been one in the Senate, are obviously important, but notwithstanding that, it's imperative that a code governing the management of EACS be agreed as quickly as possible. Members have agreed to enable this to be rolled out, trusting me with its administration, but even so, it's not sustainable in the long term not to have a code, and without one, those with the responsibility of managing the system and the data collected by it really don't have a framework in which to make decisions. So I stress the importance of us with the code. I am very hopeful we'll have a code within a few months, but I just give members the assurance as Speaker, my role is to act on your behalf. I do that by liaising with the Leader of the House and the Manager of Opposition Business. If for some reason there was a delay in that code, my intention would be for the House Appropriations and Administration Committee, as the Oversight Committee, work with myself, the Manager of Opposition Business, and the Leader of the House for a code as it applies to you as members. So without further ado, I propose to put the motion in my name. All those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Thank you. The ayes have it. We've sort of got to get to the intentions to negate the adjournment. The Manager of Opposition Business.
If I can let you know that while I'll stop in 10 seconds for the negation of the adjournment, I do wish to raise a matter of privilege.
Yes. Okay, and we'll... I think if the Assistant Minister slowly gets to his feet to be ready, it being 4:30 p.m, I propose the question that the House do now adjourn.
Mr Speaker, I require the question to be put immediately without debate.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. Just before I call the Manager of Opposition Business, I do just want to say one more thing. I thank the House for your confidence in passing that resolution. It is a very, very important matter, and genuinely there's obviously been a lot going on today without going to the politics of it. Both the Leader of the House and the Manager of Opposition Business have been very busy. That's the nature of their jobs, and I want to thank both of them in working with me through this. We were determined that it happened today, and the Manager of Opposition Business is here. I want to thank him personally and his staff for their work through this, when it would have been very easy for other political priorities to get in the road. Now, the Manager of Opposition Business, having said that, now he's got a matter of privilege, so let's go back to where we were.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. I wish to raise a matter of privilege under Standing Order 51.
The Manager of Opposition Business may proceed.
The matter concerns whether the Minister for Energy and Emissions Reduction, the member for Hume, has deliberately misled the House on 6 occasions. On the evening of 23 October 2019, The Guardian reported the Minister had used false travel figures that allegedly came from the City of Sydney Annual Report 2017-18 in official ministerial correspondence from the Lord Mayor of Sydney. The next day, on 24 October, the Minister told the House in relation to the document allegedly containing the false travel figures, and I quote, "The document was drawn directly from the City of Sydney's website. It was publicly available." End quote. Since then, the Minister has affirmed that previous statement in various forms to the House on no fewer than 5 separate occasions. Despite the passage of more than 40 days since the 23 October report, and the Minister being given multiple opportunities in the House, he has failed to provide any evidence to substantiate his statement to the House on 24 October and his subsequent affirmations of that statement to the House. In contrast, the City of Sydney has released metadata which shows both the Word and PDF versions of the Annual Report 2017-18 have not been altered since they were published on the City of Sydney website on 27 November 2018. And all available public internet archives of the City of Sydney website show both the Word and PDF versions of the Annual Report 2017-18 published on the City of Sydney website have been published in one form only, without the false travel figures that the Minister claims appeared in a document downloaded directly from the City of Sydney website. I submit these circumstances present a prima facie case that the Minister has deliberately and repeatedly misled the House. The Minister has had the opportunity of the final 2 sitting weeks of the year to correct the record to the House. I am raising this matter at the earliest opportunity, after which it has become clear that the Minister does not plan to correct the record before the House rises for the year. To assist you in considering this matter, I provide you with a number of documents. I also note that, contrary to the House resolution on the registration of members' interest, the Minister has failed to properly disclose interests in Jamland Proprietary Limited and GFA1 Proprietary Limited. In relation to this matter, I understand the member for Hindmarsh has, in accordance with practice, referred the matter directly to the Committee of Privileges and Members' Interests. I ask you to consider giving precedence to a motion to refer to the Committee of Privileges and Members' Interests whether the Minister for Energy and Emissions Reduction deliberately and repeatedly misled the House such as to constitute a contempt of the House. Mr Speaker, as you know, it is important that the House protects itself against all acts or omissions which obstruct or impede the House in its performance of its functions, and I thank you for your consideration of this serious matter.
I thank the Manager of Opposition Business for alerting me prior to raising the matter, and as the Manager of Opposition Business would expect, I will consider the matter in the usual way and report back. Given this is the last sitting day of 2019, I can assure the Manager of Opposition Business I will obviously report back on the first sitting day of next year. I have received messages from the Senate: A, returning the following bills without amendment: Protection of the Sea, Prevention of Pollution from Ships Amendment, Air Pollution Bill 2019, Education Legislation Amendment, Tuition Protection and Other Measures Bill 2019, and B, informing the House that Senator Billick has been discharged from the Joint Standing Committee on Treaties and Senator Ciccone has been appointed a member of the committee.